You're tuning into the Active Mom Podcast with physical therapist Dr. Carrie Pagliano, a real mom's guide to all things postpartum return to workouts after baby. If you're a postpartum mom, coach, trainer, or physical therapist looking for answers on how to get back to running, CrossFit, yoga, Pilates, HIIT, you name it, without the fear of pelvic floor issues or doing something wrong, this is the podcast for you. Let's start the show. All right, we're going to welcome back Paulina. IOANNIDAOU. Did I get it close? Maybe I
It's
put
completely fine.
bad accent on there. It's Paulina's second time on the show. She is all things. She's an athlete. She's a mom. She's a researcher. She's a physio. Just had her second baby just a couple of weeks ago, and walked out of surgery and got a paper published. And so we decided to catch up with Paulina and tell us how all things have been going on the last year and a half. So Paulina, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very happy to be back again.
So just so everybody can get caught up, you just had another baby. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about kind of, we were just talking before we clicked record, kind of just the journey to this next pregnancy, which also kind of feeds into your interest into the research that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, so I think the last time we talked about pregnancy and training, right?
Yeah.
And in between that, 1 year ago, we actually always planned a second baby. But well, the time if you have a business, it's in Germany, it's quite difficult to get not to get another baby or to produce another baby. But so I was thinking, okay, when would be a good time for getting another one? And with all that odyssey, because we have always a question here in Germany, like, why are you doing this research? Because you're such a young girl, and well, it's not a topic that should be in your interest. And before that, of course, I was very interested in that topic because I'm not only a woman. I have my mother, I have my grandma. Everybody went through postmenopause or perimenopause and ended up in postmenopause. I found actually out a little bit by my own journey that I have a premature ovarian insufficiency, and that problem was not really, it was kind of a little bit shocking because I knew, okay, the amount of eggs I have is very, very poor and limited. And gladly, I'm quite young, so the quality is quite okay, but still just a few are left. I found that out by actually having very irregular cycles, like very short ones. My breast changed, my mood changed. I had very, very like sleepless nights, and all of these symptoms, every practitioner gynecologist was like, yeah, it's just stress. You should step a little bit back. You do this and that. You have a kid and you train a lot. You do this. But I know my body, and I know right away this is not stress, because I had like this amount of stress I have like for years, and I can cope with it quite good. That's why I'm training, and this is why I do whatever, eat healthy and stuff. So all this topic kind of led me back to, why am I doing all the postmenopausal stuff? So actually, it was closing the circle for myself.
Isn't that always how it goes?
Yes, and it was actually quite good because it was just clicking. And so I just asked, like, can you please take this kind of, like, these hormones? I really want to know, like, my FSH, my like we have in Germany, like, it's called anti-Müllerian hormone. So this hormone which shows you the amount of eggs you have, but not the quality of eggs. So it was very, very low. So my gynecologist, she actually suggested to me to go for IVF, and I was like, oh, okay, let's just give me a couple of weeks, just 2 or 3 cycles, and then we just try it, and if it's working, nice, and if not, then we can get back to fertility clinic. But so it was very nice. It worked out physiologically, and I was pregnant quite quick again with my second boy, and yeah, so from now on, I was actually also talking to my gynecologist because I was straight away from pregnancy maybe to perimenopause. I will find that out by soon, probably as I stopped when I stopped breastfeeding. But this topic is actually something that will hit us all, or will hit me sooner as others. So yeah, by the publication we talked about on the topic was actually a training intervention in postmenopausal women, and how important it is to stay strong and healthy in that age. For my person, it's not that age because I'm 30 and turning 35 next year. but for the reasons to stay just strong, healthy, and to eat a lot of proteins.
Yeah. No, I think it's something that's come up a lot now that we're having, this menopause conversation that I feel like has gotten more popular the last, year and a half. And there's kind of these two areas where I really think people don't realize that there might not be space between postpartum and perimenopause. Where I live in DC, most moms are really late 30s, early 40s, so there's not a lot of time. And then your situation, which is the ovarian insufficiency, and I've had some clients too where they've gone to their gynecologist and said, "Hey, I'm experiencing these symptoms. My mom's this way, my grandmother's this way. Can I be treated for perimenopause?" And they have to fight to have that recognition of
Mhm.
that diagnosis. It's really unfortunate. But yeah, and then of course you mentioned the gaslighting. Everybody's telling you, "Oh, you're a tired mom, you have a business, you have a kid. It's just that." And you're like, "No, no, no. I know my body. This isn't right." It's
Mhm.
really kind of frustrating, I would think.
This is actually, we had another in Germany, German speaking podcast where they talked about this issue and this pathology. It's actually 1% of women suffer from that, and 1% is
Mhm.
quite a lot. Like one woman in 100. And if I would be a gynecologist, I'm seeing so many women day by day. So at least, let's say, like 50 to 60 women, at least two of these in a month have like the
Right.
ovarian insufficiency. So by not seeing this or accumulating the symptoms, it's, for me it was very frustrating, because when it was clear, when she saw my hormone, like the whole blood work, she was like, "Oh yeah, uh okay, you should hurry." And I was like, "Yeah, I know."
Right?
That's what I'm talking about. This is not the point, but I just wanted to be sure. So because then I couldn't. Then I was thinking, because the other doctor, because I was getting like pain during my evaluation, and he was like, "Yeah, maybe you have endometriosis." Like, I do not have endometriosis. Like, I got pregnant very quick.
Yeah,
I know my body. I never had pain or issues with that. So
right.
that was the only thing everybody was talking about, like maybe check on this and that, and maybe you should get a laparoscopy. And it was like, No, I don't need surgery. I just get some things tested."
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. No,
So that's the
that's good that
point.
you kind of understood enough about yourself to be able to advocate, which unfortunately a lot of people just
Yeah.
they either don't or they're not able to be heard. So your research, I'm going to pull up I think I can get the whole title up here. It's a nice long title, but I think the two primary things in here that I wasn't surprised about that you would look into was resistance training and high protein diet. And so for those that haven't gone back to listen to your first episode, what could you share just a quick bit about your background in just training and sport and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so I was a former professional MMA fighter here in Germany, and I was training, well, all the athletic, necessities in that kind of sport. So I was doing strength and resistance training, strength and conditioning. I was doing boxing, wrestling, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And of course, unfortunately, I started, due to my studies, to learn quite late in my career about all these important factors. So during weight cuts in my early, like 19 or 20 years old, like, yeah, just don't eat that much, and yeah, just calorie counting but not macro counting. It was very sad that yeah, a lot of women just misfueled themselves. Like
Mhm.
they didn't really hit the calories. They didn't hit their protein intake. And when I was, yeah, getting into my studies, I got older, I got wiser. I started to get more into like how important it is to get a high protein diet, especially for women, especially if you have to do a weight cut, for not losing any lean muscle mass, for still being able to perform as well. Also carbohydrates, of course. But during these times, a lot of women just shredded themselves down, like get into intense cuts, losing their periods. So all the circle about relative energies. Deficit syndromes or low energy availability. So all the circle was hitting me as well. So I then restarted to, okay, get back into proper diet, like get it back into proper dieting, into knowing what's important, especially for females, especially, and again, menstrual cycle. How is it affecting my weight cut? How is it affecting my weight during a training period? And all these information like came together, and well, that was a very interesting fact for me to know. Okay, protein is something very important. And then the second fact, that the necessity for learning about, again, gender data gap issues. What about that big influence on postmenopausal women on protein? Like in
Mhm.
Germany, we still have such a bad reputation for protein. So everybody talks bullshit about protein is bad for your kidneys, protein is this, and protein is that. And you're like, where are you? Like, we're in the 29th, 21st century, and we all know that protein has nothing to do with any kidney damage on a very healthy
Mm.
person and a healthy kidney. Um, yeah, so to fight that, like that very bad myth, I try to find out as well in my publication written, uh, does high protein has a bad impact on our organs? Does it has a bad impact on any of these issues? And how is it positively affecting our muscles?
Mhm.
So we try to find out, especially for that population. First, we had a control group. Everybody had to track their food and their intake. So we saw that a normal postmenopausal population without hormone replacement therapy is very, very low on protein. They're not eating enough of protein, about like 30 to 40 grams a day. And it was like, how do you
Right.
survive? And then we had like the other group. So let's really start from the beginning. We had four groups in my study intervention. We had a training group, we had a training and a high protein group, a high protein group without training, and just a simple control group. So we had two groups that are not supplementing high protein, and we try to get them 2.5 grams of lean muscle mass of protein. So we calculated this with body composition analysis. And the other groups could just eat what they wanted. So the two protein groups had to supplement if they were not hitting the daily intake
Mhm.
with just clean whey. Um, and they fulfilled also their daily intake. So I was very lucky, I had a very compliant group.
That's good
Um,
when you're doing research, right?
yeah, yeah, but because again, if you're not used to eat that amount of protein, it's
Right.
hard for them. So
Well,
it
and
was
that's
like,
that's what I was thinking when you were talking about kind of the mistakes that you made, just to back up a little bit, is you were kind of going through this, I think, when people were actually starting to bring about awareness of, one, the importance of protein, two, that most of us don't get enough. But back
mm,
now to what you're talking about now, like the average person is going from maybe 3 grams, I'm sorry, 30 grams of protein, and then they're being told, oh, you should eat your body weight. And like, if you're going to go from 30 to like 130, they're going to get
yeah,
constipated, first of all. And second of all, they're just not going to know how to do it. And they're
yeah.
not going to be compliant.
So I
It's like
wrote
a
them
lot of
down on this
food.
because, yes, it's a lot of people that I just wrote them lists because like, oh, I don't like the powder, and it's like, yeah, so find this and that, and take like soy, chicken, or tofu, whatever. If you're vegan, for like or vegetarian version or this and that. So it was very, very hard for some groups, but for the others, it was actually quite easy to get to hit that target because they got the list, and it was quite okay. But still, they had to use the way I was offering them to get to hit the target at the end of the day.
Mhm.
The other two groups did not had any kind of recommendation, so it's like just eat what you want to do. The two training groups both had, like, it was a 12-week intervention. They had to hit like 3 times the gym. We had a very nice undulated periodization. They had to like 5 specific exercises. They had to do a squat, a box squat, deadlift, lat pull down, lateral raises, and unilateral carries. So we just had these exercises. So we were like, okay, push pull variation, lower and upper body. And we try to find out via body composition measurements if they had an increase in lean body mass, reduction in fat mass, or how is the body composition changing.
Mhm.
We also use like ultrasound measurements to see if the muscle thickness did change as well, or just the intramuscular composition. Of course, both training interventions, they gained weight, they put on a lot of muscle mass,
Mhm.
significant amount of muscle mass, they got stronger. I took videos for my group, and I would just posted them on my physio channel, my Instagram, not on my private one. um, I had like women 75-year-old, they lifted at the end 80 kilos. Like they did an 80 kilo, it's like, what is it, 150 pounds or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
No, not 150, it's more. 170-pound deadlift.
Okay.
I just need to I just need to recalculate. It's like 80 kilos. Let me just
I love
find
that
it
you can
out.
do that in your brain. I can't go back and
Uh,
forth fast.
I just like it was they got so much stronger, and
Wow.
that was really, really making me so happy because, and we also must say that at the beginning, all of these, like we had 55 women had issues like, oh, my shoulder's hurting, my back is hurting, my knee is hurting. And by the end of the intervention, like, let me guess, like 99% of the women did not have any
Yeah.
issues, like general issues where you can just say, okay, if you have back pain, just do randomly these 5 exercises
Right.
and it will just get better. So a mixture, or just do a whole body workout and your back's going to get better.
Right.
And yeah, as well, at the end of the week of the intervention, we had, like, of course, the protein groups, and this was just one of the limitations. We didn't limitate the total calorie intake or energy intake. So some of them put on a little bit of fat mass as well, but
Mm-hmm.
in general, because they were in a calorie surplus, because of the protein, they put on a lot of lean body mass.
Mm.
And the other thing is that was very interesting to see that we had the control group with the protein supplementation. And even if you just supplement postmenopausal women with on a high, or put them on a high protein diet, they
Mm-hmm.
put on muscle mass. They
Mm.
change the lean muscle mass and the body composition in a positive way. So if you have a very, very lazy granny and you say, okay, you know what, you don't want to train at all, just change at least your diet to a high protein diet. Nothing's
Yeah.
gonna happen. Nothing's bad's gonna happen to your organs, but you have a muscle protective use of the protein, and you will at least have not in a catabolic state. You will not. It's a sarcopenia prevention. So just put all of these. It's not even elderly people. I mean, if we talk about postmenopausal women, women at the age of 50, 55, whatever, just put them on a high protein diet and they will have a protective situation of the muscle situation. And we know muscle situation, muscle pull on the bone is always an anabolic, um, like an anabolic system for for bone growth and protection. So if we talk about all the negative, all the vicious circle of sarcopenia, osteoporosis, osteopenia,
Right.
so get these women at least on a high protein diet. At least it's going to protect them a little bit, and put them not 3 times a week, but once or twice a week,
Safe
a little bit
starting.
under a
Yeah.
barbell, under pressure, under
Yep.
some sort of resistance training. And it's the best. I mean, there's nothing to discuss about it. So everybody,
Yeah.
we're in our bubble and we know this. And I hope, oh no.
No, you're fine. I can still hear you. You're
Oh,
good.
perfect. Ah,
You're
great.
good.
Because
Yep, yep, for a second. Yeah, no, Paulina was having some
um,
Wi-Fi issues earlier. It's okay though. We're good.
So at least you can put just these populations under at least, and change the diet and put them under the, we call, like, under the iron, put them under a barbell or a
Right.
dumbbell or whatever, and they will be quite safe for the rest of their lives.
Okay.
And we had a follow up now. This is going to be the second publication because,
Hmm.
of course, it's interesting to see what are they doing after the 12 weeks. Are they
Right.
still hitting the gym or not? Or
Yeah.
and again, these women, the women who participated in the training intervention, 80% of them stayed active. So they all
That's great
got some sort
news.
of gym memberships, or some
Hmm.
of them who were beneficial, who had enough money, they got themselves a personal trainer or whatever.
Hmm.
But all, like, 80% stayed and actually asked me for the training schedule or the training plan, even if it was very basic and not, I mean, good and with a lot of variation. It was quite
Yeah.
simple and easy to do. But
And I think that's such a good point is and I think the hard part too is right now people that are in a postmenopausal state can be anywhere from their late 30s on up. So I think women, late 30s and even because I'm menopausal now, and in our 40s, I think we've been introduced to the concept of lifting heavy, so it's not super foreign. But I think women who are a little bit older, it can be this scary place. So finding a way for them to feel safe, to be able to establish that consistency. Once you start building that habit, like that really is the key. And it sounds like you were able to do some really straightforward exercises that was easy enough for them to continue.
Yeah, and what we have in Germany, we have no proper prevention system for that.
Hmm.
So there is nothing where we have like a quite good insurance system actually here. So where the insurance says, look, you just hit your, I don't know, 45.
Yeah.
Here you get 3 month free training. It would be still cheaper than treating an like a hip fracture.
Yeah.
So if you would give them the at least the ability, so here's a personal trainer or at least a small group training,
Yep.
do that for 3 months, and then you are actually, because again the other thing is we found out in the study, those women who did not continue to train, the other, let's say 20%,
Hmm.
still had a benefit from
Mm.
these 3 month intensive training a year later. So we have T1 measurement. So they before, like right before we started the intervention, T2 measurement after the intervention, and
Mhm.
now we did another measurement 1 year later, and found out, oh my God, the group that trained but did not continue the training had still a higher muscle mass than on the first day when we did T1, like the first
That's
measurement.
I think that's
So
really
you
good
still can
news.
build a plateau, like, and you can still build muscle mass and like prevent that kind of muscle mass from atrophy. So
Mhm.
if you would give them also a high protein diet, because it was a little bit difficult, we still asked them, we did it on a questionnaire, we asked them, how much did you train? Did you continue train after the intervention? Did you change your diet?
Right.
Or what did you do? And the group with like high protein and training intervention, they mostly changed the diet because they also felt healthier. And some of them said, oh, I did not eat that much like before when I was not on a high protein diet,
Right.
which is logically, we also know that. But now they saw the benefits of that intervention on their bodies, and so many of them just stayed because they said, I feel so good. I was
Feel
never
better.
stronger. So
Right.
I was never that strong. Like that, I did never strength training. I was always afraid of that, and
Yep.
because it was for free, because it was my intervention, so I was very happy that they came. They got 3 supervised training sessions per week. They got all the supplements for free. They got also for them was a very nice learning effect. They had to track the daily intake, energy
Mhm.
macro intake, with an app, so they saw right away, okay, this amount of energy I'm taking. This had a very good learning
Right.
effect. Some of the women wanted to lose weight, and then, okay, I see now, maybe like a croissant, it has that amount of calories. Oh, it's a lot. And learning by doing and knowing, okay, if I want to change my diet, maybe I just take this one out and
Right.
just substitute this with that. And oh, I see
Yeah.
how it is. Well,
Getting a baseline, I feel like, is so incredibly important because I don't think the average person has a sense of what that breakdown is. And if you guys are listening, you don't know what macros are, basically it's a breakdown of like how much carbs, how much fat intake, and how much protein. And for the study here, when you talk about high protein diet, was that individualized per participant, or was there a particular goal that was generally across the board? And how did you
no,
come to that determination what high protein was?
we had like we used the position stand from Ellen Aragon where they mentioned the 2.5 gram on lean body mass. No, sorry, fat-free mass. And we measured every participant with a bioimpedance analysis, like a body composition analysis,
Mhm.
to find out how much lean body mass, skeletal muscle mass, fat mass, total body water they had. And then we measured it for every participant. So every woman got their own goal they had to hit,
Mhm.
which was a variation. I think the mean was like around about 100 grams, which is, I don't know, in the non-metric system,
Oh,
but
no, we
100
we
grams.
actually use grams too, so you're fine. You
No,
don't have to.
perfect. Like, Oh, how
Like, I
much
don't know what that would be.
inches
No,
in
we do grams too.
scoops?
No, but
Great. So
100 grams, I don't think people realize, like, that's a decent amount. Like,
that's
if
a decent amount. If you see like bodybuilders eating up to 300 to 400 grams of protein, where you're like, oh my God, you just killed like a whole chick family. Forget that.
but I also
Um,
think that that's important to say. You're calling high protein 100 grams. Here in the States, there's some weird information going around where people are being told they need to eat their body weight in protein. For me, full disclosure, I'm a 150-pound girl. If I had to eat 150 grams of protein, I wouldn't have time to do anything else in the day. You might as well just hand me the
mm,
chicken so I can get started. It doesn't have to be that, but I think things like that get spread around, that's why people stop, because
mm,
it's not sustainable. Now, like
it's not that much.
190 to 100, I think is very sustainable. We have I'll have to grab one from the other room. We have these protein drinks from this one company that give you like 25 to 30 grams, and they have another one that's like 45 grams, and it's really easy, doesn't have to be refrigerated. Those sorts of things are really nice supplements. I have one right after I work out in the morning or after a run, and I'm like, boom, I'm 30 down. I've only got 60 left to go if I'm trying to get to
Yeah.
90. But for those of you that are listening, you've been told that you've got to hit this 130 to 150 gram. Like, don't do it. Like, just can we just try and get to something reasonable first? And
Yeah.
again, the
It's
reason
just
Paulina's
realistic.
telling you, yeah,
Yeah.
she's telling you, like, that's still high protein. But that's why people stop, I think, is because they're told wrong numbers. It's way
Yeah.
too much. It's not based in kind of science. And then they say, oh, well, I can't do it. And then they just give up and they're back to like 30 or 40 grams a day, which is not helpful.
Yeah. And then you like just need to give them like some tips. Not like tips as German, just like basic ideas. So what
Mhm.
is like we have get the little amount of cheese, or we have like even like protein bars. If I tell them,
Yep.
look, protein bar is 25 grams,
Yeah.
and you are a snacky person, just
Yep.
grab yourself a bar,
It's in this
grab
one.
yourself this, a little shake of
7.
that,
I'm
and
not.
just yes, and small amounts of high protein. If you like be like a meat person, of course, get you some jerky, perfect source. It's
Mhm.
like that beef right, in your break. But on the other side, just the first part of education to show them,
Right.
okay, what kind of groceries do you need to buy, and then they changed a little bit their mindset of, oh, it's actually good to see, because I from this I switched to that, and out of
Right.
nowhere, like even pasta, which got a very bad reputation here as well because it has a lot of carbohydrates. Like, oh my God, it has also a lot of proteins.
Mhm.
Nice. So people just changed, all the participants that were in the high protein and training intervention really, really changed the habits, which made me very, very happy because, of course, as a physician, this is my aim to get habits changed, change people's lives. So like, look, you
Right.
just need, it's not like 160 degrees switch up and you need to do this and that. It's just small things that need to be changed. It's just a little bit of your time to get into a gym, to do just 45 minutes, these exercises, get yourself a training body. And also a very nice effect of the study, we had a couple of the women just formed some small groups, and these small groups of women like, oh my God, we just still now, like, oh my God, we still hit the gym, like group of 4 women, and we do all the workouts together, like
Mhm.
so cute. And they go to very, very big gyms where you just have bodybuilders, and they're like, oh my God, we get so many compliments because we do a back squat, we do deadlift, we do this and do that. And they're like
Yeah.
over 60, 65, and they're like, yes, you do not need to be afraid because our scene is so like, if I go and see an elderly person, I'm so happy. Like, oh my God,
Right.
you're so cool. You hit the gym, and you will not never get shamed in a fitness industry for working out. And this is a big
Right.
myth as well, because like, oh, if I go to the gym, I'm elderly, like everybody's watching. It's like, no, everybody's really happy that you do it, and nobody will judge you. Everybody will be very, very happy that you are there, because everybody, if you're training, everybody has like these family members that are really educational resistant. If you tell them, please work out, nah, this is not good, I just need a massage. And then you
Right.
ask them like
Massages don't
these.
build bone density.
Yes. And then you're like, please just work out. Ah, no, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or just change a little bit. I'm still overweight. I just change your diet. Nah, it must be my hormones. Not really. Yes, maybe a little bit, but just 1%. But you just need to change it at now. It's my hormones, it's my stress,
Yeah.
it's cortisol, and then like,
We're
great.
very good at gaslighting. I have a question that wasn't part of your study, but it's a conversation that I'm having a lot with other moms. It's funny. I just did a 10-mile race here on Sunday, and a bunch of moms, we were hanging out afterwards and talking. And of course, we were talking about our HRT patches that we all had and
Mm.
whatnot. But I think we're getting a lot of information on what we're supposed to do. And resistance, I think resistance isn't easy sell because we know how good it is for bone density. I think that's something that's been around for a long time. So just getting people to incorporate that in is good. What I was wondering, and again, I don't know if you have background in this, but there's a lot of conversation about what other types of exercise that we should be doing. So let's say we're doing resistance training, we're doing a high protein diet. Um, there's some conversations about, should we be doing hit training? Should we be doing sprint training? Is zone 2 training bad? Like all these different things. And the communities that I'm in, because I also work with a lot of runners and myself, the zone 2 bad thing doesn't go over well. So I'm just curious if you have any thoughts about that.
No, so actually, there is no bad exercise for postmenopausal women.
Yeah.
I think it's even like now we have also the whole menstrual cycle training where you're like not supposed to train this and your second phase of your cycle, blah blah blah. This
Yeah.
is complete bullshit. So
Yeah.
every sort of, even a zone 2, or if you go into high intensity training, first of all, running has an impact is like necessary for every kind of bone growth, or for the anabolic state, or the osteoblast activity. So we need impact. That's something you do by running. And secondly, the heart rate. If you have issues with your heart, like, I mean, you just probably need to go to see a cardiologist. On the other side, every metabolic training you do for your body is very important on the other part, because we know what are the other symptoms of postmenopausal women. We have, due to the decline of estrogen, different types of cardiac, like or cardiovascular issues. We have like issues like high blood pressure, insulin resistance, like type 2 diabetes, which is growing also in postmenopausal women. And this is a point where we also need zone 2 training to decrease these issues we have.
Hmm.
I'm always like, for fitness and health, I'm always like an advocate for just combine these two. So
Yep.
do a little mixture of zone 2, hit training, resistance training, if your schedule is allowing you to like do all of these things.
Yep.
Um, that would be, of course, great, but there's nothing bad about this. And
Yeah.
as soon as, just, I was just telling the women, because everybody's like, should I do this? Is Zumba something you would recommend? It's like, I don't care. I'm not a Zumba person. You can
Right.
like go, like, I'm not a group fitness person at all, but just do everything you need to do just to be active and to move around. If you want
Yeah.
to go to the circus and dance with an elephant, I'm completely cool with that. Just just do something and move and
Yeah.
get your heart rate up, get a little bit of impact, get a little bit of something. Or we have like these body pump courses, like where you get
Hmm.
like a plastic barbell and just crazy wave around the weights.
Yeah.
And I don't care what you do, just do something
Yep.
that has like category, a little bit of impact, a little bit of heart rate up, and a little bit of resistance. And it doesn't
Yeah.
need to be classic SPD, squat, bench, deadlift. Just do something that puts a little bit of pressure on your spine, has a
Yep.
little bit of pressure on your hip, spine, and all the structures that are, unfortunately, for osteoporosis, yeah, very, very sensitive for getting fragile and breaking. So,
Yeah. No, I'm
or
glad to hear you say
fracturing.
that because I feel like, and maybe this is just, a part of the internet where we're almost like demonizing certain types of exercises and saying one thing's better than the other. When I think, I mean, at least here in the States, I know it's a huge problem just getting women active, period. And then, postpartum women active, period. And then postmenopausal women active. Like, we shouldn't be putting all these barriers on what you should be doing until let's start doing things, and then we can get picky about it later if we really have to. But I don't know if that's just me in the corner of the internet that I'm stuck in right now, that it kind of makes me upset because I'm like, let's just encourage people not to get bogged down in what's good or bad or right or wrong. Like, let's just move and be happy, and yeah, make sure it's a mixture of things, and not just like one thing.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have always these people, just you have just to do this and you just have to do that. If you do this, it's bad for you, and if you do that, it's
Right.
also bad for you. I'm just like, just do anything you want, just stay active and have a goal. If you have a goal, especially, like I see that on my mother, on my, and also of course on my dad. If they get grandkids, it's again switching, so they know they have to get fit for their grandchildren. And
Right.
even if that's a goal too. So I'm like,
Yep.
you want to lift up? Well, my mom, she had like, oh, my neck is hurting, this is hurting, I cannot, like, it's like, do your exercises, and then you are able again to lift your grandchild. And
Hmm.
like my dad, like he's a perfect example. He just really, getting grandchildren for him was the best reason to get fit again. And he
Yeah.
started to lift. He comes to my facility, has the option, he can train there for free. He got so many interns. I'm like, okay, just write him a training plan or just have an eye on him that he's not
Yeah.
using or abusing the barbell, but just
Yep.
stay with him, just instruct him and just simple things. And again, it doesn't need to be complex. I said, you
Yeah.
do not need to do any fancy athletic training. Just do
Yep.
push pull variations, horizontal, vertical, fine. 45 minutes,
Yeah.
4 sets, 8 to 12 repetitions, RPE, 7 to 8, whatever, it's fine.
Yep.
Just do this couple of exercises and just simple, stupid, just these exercises for a long time or a longer amount of time. So he builds that capacity for overhead press, lifting your baby, or my baby in that case, his grandchildren. And yeah, just simple as it is. And then he
Yeah.
stopped drinking alcohol. He lost a lot of weight. And it's
Hmm.
so simple sometimes, but people just need, we call it, say in Germany, a kick in the ass. Like, you just need sometimes somebody, or at least a reason to change their life. And it's the
Yeah.
same point of age where when women get grandchildren, it's sometimes at the point where they might be in a postmenopausal state or in a longer time.
Yep.
So as I said, my mom got me very young and she got into menopause very early. So it was like hitting right away. It's like, oh, okay, shit, yeah, okay, there we are again.
Yeah.
So I need to build that capacity to be able to run with my grandchildren and not to be that,
Yeah.
yeah, just do this and
I
that, and I
know.
can't do this. So yeah,
Which is very much, I don't know if you had were able to be around with your grandparents. Like, neither of my grandmothers were active at all. One my grandmother, my mom's side, was definitely obese, had some issues. My dad's side, she was active in that, like, she'd go do chores and things like that, but it was, I mean, it was not part of their culture or their upbringing to
yeah,
exercise. And if they did,
yeah,
it was under, it was definitely, you're going to physical therapy to exercise. There was no other reason to do it.
yeah. And if in this point we have the same here, like these generations just go to physiotherapy here for getting a massage, for getting
Right.
massive treatment. My knee hurts and this and that, and you cannot change this generation properly. We have just a couple
Mhm.
of Instagram examples, like what's it called, like Train with Joan.
Mhm.
The Like, she's one example. Like, she changed with the age of 70. She got, because her daughter is a bodybuilder, she got like a diet, she got this and that.
Mhm.
But she's one in 100,000. If I try to get my granny into like training and
Mhm.
dieting, like especially she's from Greece, she's still fit. Like, she can still lift up my babies and my
That's
kids, and
great.
she's like a grandmother now, and she's very, very happy to see that.
Yeah.
On the other side, this is not, yeah, this is not, unfortunately, not the things that happen here in Germany. Like, the grandmothers, mostly their dad, they're not physically fit,
Mhm.
and that's the point.
Yeah. No, I think there's been a big shift in culture for sure. Now for you, kind of knowing that you're going to go into this early menopause and you're, just several weeks postpartum right now, is there really going to be that much of a difference in how you're training when you're kind of looking ahead? So what are you doing right now, and how many weeks postpartum are you?
I'm now 7 weeks. I'm going to 8 weeks next Saturday. I started slower than on the first pregnancy because I had a C-section this time, but
Mhm.
still, it's going to be. I try to get back to my physique as it was before, but things that I'm really considering as soon as I might get my period back and as soon as I'm stop breastfeeding, to get in some sort of hormone replacement therapy. So if I have the feeling that I'm really struggling again, like
Yep.
before, I started to gather my second, like half of my circle, a progesterone, a bioidentical hormone
Hmm.
therapy. So I'm considering doing that because it was really reducing my symptoms, like from insomnia in the night or for my night
Oh,
sweats and so on.
progesterone is great for insomnia.
Yeah,
It
so
works for
those,
me.
yeah, beside the fact that like as soon as I stop breastfeeding, and on the other side, if I have the feeling that I get more and more issues like on my pelvic floor, the good point is in our studies there was exclusively non-hormonal, like women not on hormone replacement therapy, so they all have been clean, they're not taking any kinds of hormones, so we had a, of course we needed a baseline,
Right.
but especially on that muscle protective, um, like muscle protective composition of estrogen is something I'm really like, if I have the feeling that I'm getting weaker, I'm not afraid to taking any estradiol components to just get back on my physique or just to, like, as a prevention, no? We
Yeah.
all know like estrogen is such a muscle protective hormone and bone protective hormone.
Yep.
As soon as I know that I'm really struggling to get or to have, well, if it's get a blood work, if I get a DEXA scan, if I know, okay, I'm going to hit that point,
Right.
I know I'm still different because I still can lift a lot of weight. I'm still
Right.
squatting now. I'm doing like even boxing, like martial arts has a lot of impact. But we should consider that we have a huge spectrum of opportunities to do, and hormone replacement therapy is a great thing, which also has a bad reputation here in Germany,
I
but
was
things
going to
change.
ask about that. Yeah.
It's
With the
bad here in
reputation.
Germany.
Yeah, still.
Like we have early in the 90s, we had a big wave of progestin derivatives, which had a high, little bit like higher likely prevalence for getting breast cancer,
Right.
because it was hitting different kind of receptors. But now we have like a huge wave of bioidentical hormones, like bioidentical progesterone derivatives, which are not so likely to hit any kind of, especially if you talk about breast cancer and receptors. It's a very deep issue, where we have different kind of receptors, estrogen, and sensitive receptors, so on. But these bioidentical hormones have a good reputation scientifically, or in the evidence that they're not hitting these receptors, and
Hmm.
that you can reduce the symptoms of all kind of postmenopausal issues if you have them.
Right. Yeah, it's been
I
kind
don't
of a
recommend.
similar issue
Yeah.
here that when because the WHI article, I guess it came out at the very beginning of my career, so it was like 2000, and I graduated in
Mm,
1999. But I feel like here, at least in the States, we have a lot more discussion, really diving into kind of debunking and clarifying that and saying, okay, we
mm,
it because my mom, they took her off of it and she said it was miserable. She had been on HRT and then was taken off of it. And, I don't remember that time period. I think I was gone. I wasn't in the house anymore, but no, it's one of those things that I feel like we're getting much more kind of permission here in the States to have those conversations and
mm.
really kind of clamping down on, no, this is not going to increase your risk of breast cancer and whatnot. But I wasn't sure, is that information getting elsewhere in the world? Is there hesitancy? Whatnot. It's better here in DC. I will say that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I hope it's going to change because now we've got a big wave of a lot of celebrities hitting
right,
postmenopause and all them doing, like people talk about J-Lo and she's hitting the gym and this and that. How, like, these pictures of 50-year-olds now and 50-year-olds
right,
30
very
years
different.
back, where you're like, oh my God, with 50, like for me, that was the point. Women at the age of 50, when I was a kid, it was like, oh my God, 50, she's a grandma because she looks like a grandma.
Right.
And now
Yep.
you just have all these, of course, no, we do not have that amount of money for plastic surgery, but on the other side, still, a Shakira, a J-Lo, they all look like they're 30 or
Yep.
whatever because they hit the gym. Of course, they have the personal trainer, they have the nutritionist, they have the cook. But that's the point where you say, okay, if you have these parameters, you can get plastic surgery, but there are also limitations. You see a
Right.
sort of muscle mass you cannot do by a plastic surgeon. You cannot go get a muscle transplant or implant.
You got to do the work.
So you got to do the work, and you see that this work is working. So that's a good example also for my generation to see, oh my God. And I said that to my mom. It's like, you're almost the same age as J-Lo. So you could be J-Lo if you want to. Like in a
I don't
positive.
think 50 is old anymore. I've got 2 more years till I turn 50, and I don't feel that. Like, it's
That's
one
the
of those
point. You do
things.
not, same people are like, you do not have to feel like 50. And
Yeah.
we have now social media. So like social media is like, it's a hell of a whatever. Like we have a lot of, it's positive, negative. You can
Yeah.
see it. But the one good thing is that it shows that there can be a good progression on that, and that women can stay healthy till a very, very old age. And you have a lot of good examples on that. So I can just say, just stay, like all these women, I just say it's the best thing you can do for your age. Then you have time, but if you're not fit, it's you
Right.
just waste your life if you're not trained now. And so
Yeah.
it's your pension. It's your yeah.
No, I think that's
I'm
so
just
important.
missing the German word, the English word for it. Let me just do it quick. Let me find the word.
I want to know what this word is now.
Yeah, me too. I just need to old age provision.
Old age prevention. Yeah, we don't want to be old.
No, retirement provision, pension provision, Altersvorsorge. Yeah, that's a German word. So it's just actually the
Okay.
point where you just take care of you, well, of your pension. So if you're not physically
Say
active,
the word in German.
the, it's Altersvorsorge.
Okay, you don't want that. I can't repeat it, but you don't want
It's
that.
fine. No, you do not want to be unfit. It's like being fit. It's just your prevention of being fragile in your old age and not be able to do anything. Then
Yes,
you
and
have time, but you're fragile. It's a worst combination.
yeah. No, I think that's one of the things, like, when, people are like, "What are you afraid of most?" And I think that's and maybe as physios, I think we understand how precious that is, because we work with people who have issues and are trying to get back, and I think it's a much keener, sense of awareness of how lucky we are to have things feel good and have the privilege to be able to exercise and eat well and that kind of stuff, and it's just one of those things that I'm not interested in the alternative to that. I'm also really lucky to, my dad's had Parkinson's for 25 years now, I think, and he was incredibly active, still is for having it that long, but you just see what happens sometimes. So enjoy your physical capacity while you can.
That's the
All right,
point.
so
That's the point.
if somebody's listening right now and they're like, okay, I'm sold. I want to start to eat a high protein diet, but I don't know what I'm eating right now. I want to start to do resistance training right now, but I'm not really doing anything. What is a great first step that they can start with right now?
For the resistance training, just use machines. So just
Yeah.
go to a leg extension, leg curl machine, a lat pull, chest press, whatever. Just use machines. Like a machine is the safest way. It's actually similar to pregnant women. Like, I don't want to, can I hit the gym? It's very safe. You build
Mhm.
muscle pulls on the bone. Bone has some sort of inter osseo activity.
Mhm.
Nothing is going to happen. No weight is going to fall on you. You just get soreness. You just
Mhm.
feel it. Leg extension is one of the baddest machines where you will feel wobbly legs. For a diet, if you're a lazy person, a shake is actually the laziest thing you can do. As you said, they're like ready to drink shakes with
Yep.
like 25 to 30 grams. If you like chocolate or if you like into sweets, just get yourself a bar. And these tiny modifications in daily life are just so simple to keep. And just check if, like, when people say like, oh, peanut butter is such a protein source. No, just try at least to see if what you're eating is not has not such a high fat amount of fat. um, Try to get some meat into, because I know a lot of vegetarians now, at least some dairy products like milk has, or dairy products like yogurt or skyr we have here,
Mhm.
or cotton cheese, whatever. It's a good source of also calcium for the age, for the
Yep.
bones, calcium, protein, meat, great source of B12, iron for women, especially red meat. But yeah, that's the main point. Just go
Okay.
to machines, simple way,
Simple. Yeah.
4 sets, 8 to 12 repetition with a higher intensity, so you feel your muscles, not to muscle failure. And if you feel more confident, get yourself a person that helps you to perform a deadlift, to do some overhead press,
Hmm.
maybe just some box squats at the beginning, goblet squats, whatever.
Keep it
Yeah,
simple. Yeah. And
keep it simple.
what about the woman that, she's got her hormones in check now, she's doing well, she has on HRT, those symptoms are good, but they've noticed a little bit more fluff around the midsection. And let's say they're already doing resistance training. Let's say they've already, got they're doing a high protein diet, they're doing those things. Is there a way to target the fluff?
The point is with the fluff, you just need, as always, of course, we have the hormone situation, but usually you just need to get into probably more aggressive calorie deficit.
Mm,
So there are women that still can get, or you can still can get lean, but at some certain point you need to go into calorie deficit and going into proper dieting. It's always a question: why do you want what? It's like bodybuilding. You just need to get into a very intense deficit for a longer
mhm.
amount of time. So you hit your body fat percentage under a certain percentage to see a certain six pack or muscle structures around the midsection.
Yeah.
And it's getting, especially it's getting harder at the age, yes.
Yep.
To
So you gotta
calorie
get a little more
deficit.
committed. But hit
Yes.
but to the point here is, like, check the basic boxes first. Make sure that you're doing the resistance training. Make sure you get the high protein diet, and then you can dial in on the macros a little bit
Yes.
more in the calorie
Correct.
deficit. So, yeah, don't go to calorie deficit first when you don't have these other things checked off, because
Correct.
that's not gonna work.
Yeah. And then we go back into another circle. If we're in a long time calorie deficit, we have a low energy availability, which
Right.
still hits our bone structures and
Yep.
certain and so on. Yes,
Yep. Yeah, so there's an order. Pay attention. All right. At the end of
indeed.
every episode, we ask some questions. You probably aren't reading anything or listening to anything right now because you're busy in new mom stage. But anything that you're reading or a podcast that you're listening to right now?
What am I reading? Oh, quite hard. My son's good night books,
I was gonna say
probably.
Good Night Moon.
Yeah, some sort of that at the moment. And podcasts at well, also quite hard at the moment. Literally none. I can't say I have
That's
no time
okay. I
at
don't blame
all.
you. I don't blame you. All right. This time around, you've got two now. What's been your favorite activity since having number two?
Eating, eating sushi, ordering sushi. That was really a favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one
I love
thing.
it. How's sushi in Germany? Is it pretty good?
Yeah, it's quite good.
Okay. All right. All right. One piece of advice for either moms or moms that are in perimenopause or menopause.
Everything is going to sort out. Just be calm and relax. There is no answer for anything.
Are you telling yourself that right now too while you're telling
Yes.
me? I saw the sigh. All right. Who's somebody in either the postpartum or menopause space right now? Either, kind of when you were doing your research, who's really got your attention right now or who's doing really
Um,
good?
ac- Nikki Key, she did a nice work on all this hormonal stuff. She also published a book. Um, yeah, so she was one person actually
Say her
that I
name again.
was really. It's Nikki Key. It's how is she called on Instagram actually? Um,
This is how I get ideas for future podcast guests.
yeah,
My
Dr.
secret.
Nikki Key. She's actually Nikki Key, Key EAY.
Okay.
She wrote like Hormone Health and Human Potential, and yeah, it's actually very nice. I can send that
Cool.
to you later.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That would be great. Good, good, good. Okay, cool. And then last one, what does it mean to you now to be an active mom? Because you've got two in the house.
Yeah, it's actually more exhausting than I thought, but oh no, baby.
It's okay. We're almost
That's why.
done.
Yeah, 2 seconds. Um, yeah, just it's actually quite important for me to stay and be fit because that was also my best thing I could do having two kids, be a fit and active mom.
Yeah. And it sounds like you're up. So if you guys want to hear more about Paulina, go
Yes,
to check out her paper. You can find her on Instagram,
thank you.
paulina.balboa. Thanks so much for being on. I appreciate it. And congrats.
You too. Thank you. I'm probably just quitting now. We'll
All
talk
good.
later on Instagram.
Sounds good. Did you enjoy the podcast? If so, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and tell a friend to do the same. Are you a postpartum mom or postpartum pro wanting to know more about getting back to running after baby? Check out all my free goodies on carriepagliano.com. This podcast represents the opinions of Dr. Carrie Pagliano and her guests to the show. The content should not be taken as medical advice and is for entertainment purposes only. Always consult your healthcare professional for any medical questions.